So tell me, what's in there when we go home?
Love, forgiveness.
What is it?
Love and forgiveness.
Forgiveness of who?
My dad, myself, my husband.
Yes. And what are you for giving? Because I like forgiveness because it means you're for giving. Are you for animal rights? Are you for joy? Are you for democracy? Are you for giving?
For love.
That's nice. So sometimes in our lives, my friends, an event happens and our brain locks up. It locks to a meaning that isn't true. And then the meaning creates emotion. And then that emotion becomes our life. And it filters everything. And it's just not true. We distorted, we deleted, we generalized. She deleted that he came back multiple times. She distorted it into he doesn't love me. She generalized it into her own life and anyone else in it. That's what the mind will do. You did nothing wrong. That's the mind undirected. That's the mind undirected by your soul, by your heart, by your faith, by those higher emotions of courage and love without conditions. Not love because you do what I fucking want you to do. Love because you deserve to be loved even if you disagree with me. You deserve to be loved even if you need to do something for yourself. Because real love doesn't have conditions. Real love takes joy when someone is happy, whatever it takes, even if it means being apart from you for a period of time or even forever. Otherwise, it's not love. It's the selfish desire to get what you want, whether it makes someone else happy or not. Some of you are in relationships where you're committed to the ship and not the relations. You're committed to the institution and you forgot the person. Because you don't even meet the person anymore. You meet your story about the person because you've told it to yourself so many times, so everything is seen through that filter. If you think someone is your dear, dear friend and they're loving and they're generous and they're a beautiful soul and one day they treat you like shit, you'll be shocked and you'll be angry. And if you can't resolve it and you have to leave to go deal with something, you'll generalize their behavior later on. You'll say they're probably having a bad, what? How many of you had a day where you hope somebody generalized your behavior as just a fucking bad day? But if somebody, you think that they don't care, or they're selfish, or they're mean because you've generalized about the human being. Because by the way, you can find selfishness in anybody if you look for it, including yourself. Whatever you look for, you're going to find. Can you find beauty? Can you find love? Can you find generosity in any human being, yes or no? Even Mr. Bremer, remember the story? Did he have generosity? The man was going to kill the president for his own significance. Did he have generosity when that older woman bumped into him? Yes or no? Do you have generosity when the woman behind McDonald's walked across the bridge? Yes or no? A fucking murderer. Remember what I said the other day from a Beautiful Mind? Whatever you feed each day grows. Be careful what story you feed. Make sure you're feeding a story that makes you grow and makes you contribute and give. Make sure it's a story that really makes you love. Because how can you expect other people to love when you're not loving? That wasn't loving towards your father. She never started to think, what the fuck could he be going through that he'd actually leave our family? That's not an easy fucking thing to do for anybody. Even if you hated your family, it's not an easy thing to do because of the structure of family and friends and life and love and finances and everything else. Holy fuck, he must have had an unbelievable amount of pain inside. Instead of thinking about me, me, me. If I love someone, I need to enter the world. But the next time you're throwing a judgment on someone else, remind yourself why you're doing it. You're doing it because you're uncertain. You're doing it because you feel insignificant. You're doing it because you feel disconnected, but you're the one making yourself insignificant and uncertain and disconnected. Because all that would disappear if you entered their world and tried to understand or appreciate. Not understand intellectually, that's why I say appreciate what they're going through. Doesn't mean you have to agree with it. But if you appreciate it, there'll be compassion, and where there's compassion, there is love. Compassion means you care passionately. That's where it comes from. Not really, but I made it up. It sounded good, didn't it? It was really good. That's how it should be. But with compassion, two things happen. You're not in pain. The only pain is when we get stuck in ourselves and we make up the story about me, 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 me. And you're not like that, Patricia. It's very obvious you're a love bug. All you want is love. But if you want fucking love, you have to give it when it's not easy. And you have to manage the mind, because the mind will always make up the worst scenario. So you'll have a fight or a flight. It's looking for the drama so it can mobilize itself. You got to calm that little turkey down and say, look, it's not a saber-toothed tiger. It's not life and death. And oh, by the way, I am now, this all happened when you were how old?
42.
No, when you were how old, how did this happen?
10.
10. 32 years later, I'm still going to be worried about this shit? What a waste of a life. But no more. And by the way, all this was about her boss.
Fucker.
So tell me now, what do you pull from this and how will it change your life? Is this just a conversation in the moment? Or have you gotten an insight that can change everything?
I've gotten lots of insights.
Tell me what you pull from this conversation, please.
I've obviously loved conditionally, and I need to love
By the way,
unconditionally.
who else has loved conditionally? All of us have, but do we have to continue to do it? And by the way, when you love conditionally, who always gets hurt? You do, because we do, because when you love conditionally, it feels like a trade. Right? I love you as long as, and the person knows that at some level. And so they can't really love back because it isn't love. It's manipulation. I'll be nice to you if you give me this. I'll love you as long as you behave the way I want. As long as you speak the way I want you to speak. As long as you agree with me. As long as you follow my rules, the blue rules that make me comfortable, then I'll love you. But that's not love. That's you just finding a way to meet your own needs for certainty and significance. There's nothing wrong with that. It just leaves you empty and creates lots of pain. How many see? So the only way out of pain is more spiritual growth. And as simplistic as that sounds or overgeneralized, spiritual growth just means seeing more of life than just your fucking self. Right? What is this increase in consciousness? I hate the term because it's so overused by people. A lot of people use it to, I'm so conscious. That's significance talking. But consciousness is caring. When you're egocentric, all you care about is yourself. And we're all egocentric if we get in enough fear, enough survival. And kids are all egocentric. People say kids are so loving. Bullshit. They're loving when you give them what they want. Otherwise, they scream their ass off. But we love them because we're drugged. Drugged by natural goods. Oxytocin. It's our child. We love them no matter what. It's a beautiful thing. Otherwise, kids wouldn't survive because they're selfish fucks. We don't see it, thank God. But we need to grow. By the way, why, when you're a child, you get love for no matter what you do, you get loved until oxytocin wears off, and then all of a sudden, the rest of your life, you got to earn it and shit. Because if life always just gave you what you wanted all the time, you'd never grow spiritually. It would all be me, 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 me. And yet, we've all been loved so deeply because we know it's there. But we're supposed to know it's there, not so we go get it, so we go get it out of ourselves and give it. And when you do that, you'll never be alone. You'll never worry about people leaving. And if they did, they're not leaving, they're going on the next part of their journey. And you're not empty because you're not dependent, because what you're wanting from them is in you. The love you're wanting from someone else is you. If they smile, kiss you, make love to you, do something a certain way, you just give yourself permission to feel the love. But the love is in you. Who gets that? Say I. But the fastest way to have that love be alive is to give it, because in order to give it, you got to feel it. So the next level of consciousness, it's not just a game. It's not a ladder for achievement. It's freedom and love together. It's the freedom to let anyone be who they are, including yourself. And it's the willingness to love whoever they are and yourself. And that's a form of nirvana. And this week, you'll see 2,500 souls from 45 countries plus who seem to be practicing this quite a bit of time, where they care for a stranger, they love on someone they don't know, they're exhausted, they haven't eaten, they're fucking cheering for some person that's still not fucking getting it. That's love. Otherwise, you'd be judging, shut the fuck up and sit down. I know some of you thought that at times, but most of you didn't stay there. So we have a little microcosm here that you could take home. The beauty of this week is to see what's really possible and then decide that that's who I am. That's not just who we are as this beautiful group of people have come together for a higher purpose, but it's who I am. And so I can take that home and I can build that in my community. I can build that in my company. I can build that in my family. I can build that in anything. Okay?